Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Rodin here with some more Eternal Forge. Also, a quick note, over the past videos I've been messing with my audio setup, so I've been having some issues. Notably, a lot of popping and my breathing seems really loud. That's pretty much because I was holding the microphone way too close to my face. So yeah, I apologize for that. Hopefully this will be better. Anyway, continuing the forge that you saw me drafting. In this game it's contradictory terms, but it's a draft format. It's just called forge because you're up against the AI. But anyway, I drafted the deck, and this is the first hand that I was offered. I decided to cut the video up into multiple parts because I felt it would be way too long if I did one video, and I think that's pretty much correct. I looked at the file that I had just made, and it was like 45 minutes. If you watch that, you're a hero. Welcome to part 2. This will probably be another 30 to 40 minutes. So let's see. I mean, assuming I don't crash and burn and die horribly, but let's hope that doesn't happen. Anyway, this hand actually looks excellent. I have 3 power. One of them is a mixed power, so I have my fire influence. I have 2 shadow, which is the requirement for this card. That's actually something I need to know for the deck, like how deep your influence requirements are. I know I have 2 shadow because it's staring me in the face, and I know I have 2 fire because I have a Shuko's hook sword. So I think that's the top end. It's just 2 shadow, 2 fire, which is actually very simple. That's pretty easy to get. I didn't draft that like 4 influence, 8 mana card. So my deck is actually pretty light, which is good because we want to be aggressive. I'm going to keep this hand for sure. I have a 1, a 2, a 3. I'll hopefully draw something for 4, and then a 5. That is a beautiful starting hand with the proper power to play it. Not too much power. You don't want to keep a hand that has 5 power. You don't want to keep a hand that has 2 power unless you're using a very aggressive deck. Like Constructed, your curve tops out at 3. Kind of aggressive. And that's the kind of deck that you keep 2 power for. For this kind of deck, 3 power or maybe 4 power is just about right. And with this hand, 3 power was excellent. We just drew a 4th, so we are looking pretty. Our opponent is playing mono green at this moment. I could have attacked before playing. That's typically what you should do if you're playing a constructed format, but this is against the AI. I mean, it could have had a trick, but whatever. I just played. Maybe I'm underestimating the AI, but okay, let's play it. I actually do have something I could do if they surprise me. Okay, so we have the flash freeze. No problem. Obviously not going to rally to stun units, so we'll just play the wolf as normal, but it is the correct way to play it too, especially if you actually have an option that you can do. It also, if it's a mind game, if you're playing a high-level opponent, a human high-level opponent, it's a mind game because if you attack with power and reserve, they could know, there could be a rally in his hand. There could be a fire conjuring in his hand if he had 2 fire influence. He could have a spiteful strike because he has shadow influence. He could have an overwhelm because he has 3 mana. So there are things like that that you have to consider when you're playing against a human opponent. My understanding for the Forge AI is the AI will never bluff. If they attack, they either think they can kill you, or they have a battle trick, a combat trick, or they think they can get some really good trades. It's one of those. They're never going to attack with a 2-1 into your card saying, hey, I might have a finest hour, which is something human opponents can do, but the AI does not do that. So yeah, there's my spiel. I'm going to attack here. I have no option. You could rally here, but that is only going to give you 2 extra damage. If it were to activate the mastery, that would be much more meaningful. But in this situation, I see absolutely no reason to use that rally. I'm just going to take my 2 damage, my 2 health, and unfortunately pass my turn because I have a 5 and a 6 drop. So our opponent is giving a weapon to this thing that has Renown, which plays a 3-2. That's actually a very strong turn. And some more Renown flyers. It's actually pretty irritating. Hey, I have Edict of Makar. Now this is interesting because our opponent is indeed playing Justice faction cards, so I can kill anything in his deck. Well, anything that has a justice influence cost. Even if it's a mixed faction unit, I do believe this still counts. So this would be a very good target to kill. I could play the fear tracker here, but I think it's better to attack and maybe rally. The thing is, I don't want him killing this. Something you could do is edict the 3-2, and then your hound is probably safe to attack. And this, in this case, excuse me, my voice is giving out. Let me get a little bit of water. Hopefully that's better. Yeah, okay. So because we can trigger the mastery, I think it is actually worth it to do that. Normally you would definitely prioritize a 3-3 flyer over a 3-2 ground unit. But in this specific situation, I think it might be correct to just kill this one. Our opponent is holding 2 mana with green and blue. That's actually a very dangerous combination because with 1 mana in green, he could have a Finest Hour, he could have a Draw Strength. Those are very impactful combat tricks. I'm not familiar with this particular AI deck, but those are definitely possibilities. And then with a Primal influence at 2 mana, he could have a Lightning Strike and just outright kill something of mine that attacks. I think it's worth it. I think the risk is worth it. Because alternatively, my attack is I have 2 turns here. I can attack with everything and rally and edict. Or I can attack with nothing and fear tracker. Because if I attack with this, it trades with a 1-1. If I attack with this, he just kills it. And sure, I got the exalted, but not ideal. I think the stronger turn is to edict this thing. Actually ignoring the 3-3 flyer, strangely. But to edict it, just to clear the way for the wolf. And then to attack and hope that my opponent does not have a lightning strike and just kills my wolf, because that would be very, very sad. My opponent did not block. Do I still rally? I think I don't. It's very strange that he didn't block. I would have expected that he at least blocked this, or maybe even double block that. I mean, I guess he probably has a weapon that he wants to use on these things. But okay, I mean, if he's gonna give me the free attack, I'll take it. There's still an argument to be made for rallying anyway, just to trigger the Blood Wolf. It's a reasonable argument. I'm not sure if it's entirely correct, but it is definitely reasonable. So this time, our opponent is holding back their 3-3 flyer, which is quite irritating. He's definitely holding it back to kill my wolf. If I had activated the rally last turn, I would now have a 4-5 wolf that cannot be killed, but I also would not have the option to... I could rally here to kill his 3-3. He might block the Exalted, which would be amazing because then I could rally it and give a 3-2 Exalted weapon to something which would probably be my wolf. But my thought is that, I mean, my assumption is that the AI would try to kill my wolf. And then I could use the rally to trade the wolf, but that's not exactly what I want to do. I think the play here is actually to just play the Phoenix. I wouldn't mind trading the Phoenix. Obviously, he has a very strong Entomb effect. If the opponent can't silence it, the Phoenix just keeps coming back stronger and stronger as the match goes on. So I would definitely be happy to trade the Phoenix for his 3-3 and something else. I think it might be better to just take it slow here. Our opponent has 1 card he was holding. He didn't play a weapon on these Renowned, so maybe they got nothing. I think the better play here is to hold. This wolf would be very valuable if I managed to get his mastery off. That's a bit terrifying. Ooh, that is definitely something nice. Okay, so that's what our opponent was holding, a 6 mana thingamabob. Okay. I think the play here is to attack. I definitely want to attack with the Phoenix. I want to kill that 33. If I could kill the 5/5 too, that would be amazing. The thing is, I don't have a good trade. I would be able to kill the 5/5 on defense, but not on offense, because I don't have anything that already has 3 attack. I would have to just throw away the Siphoner. It is a viable play that you could do. You could attack with the Siphoner and the Phoenix and then rally it. And you would basically have a 3/2 Exalted weapon to play on something. The issue with that is +2 health only makes this a 5 health creature, so it still dies to the freaking bear. I don't think that's worth it in this situation. So I think the play is to just clear the skies, attack with the Phoenix, trade the Phoenix probably for the 3/3 and the 1/2. The Phoenix will come back as a 9 cost 7/7? No, 9 cost 8/8. It's pretty good. And then we just play the Fear Tracker. I think that's the play here. He doesn't block. Okay. Well, if my opponent isn't going to block, then I'll keep the Phoenix. I'll play the Fear Tracker. And yeah, now we're holding 27 health to our opponent's 8. We have a very strong flyer, very strong ground needed. I would love to trade my flyer for his 3/3 and this thing with Aegis. I would also love to trade my Fear Tracker for that very annoying bear that's stopping my wolf. And next turn I'm hopefully going to draw a power and I can Shugo's Hook Sword something. If I can Hook Sword this thing out of the sky, that would be great. Okay, my opponent hit me for 1. I think I'm supposed to say ow. We do get the mana. Okay. Shugo's Hook Sword activate. Now, the most obvious play is to bring out the sword and just swat that 3/3 right out of the sky. That'll make a 2/2 Oni. That'll bring the weapon down to 2 health, which means he would be able to attack and kill it, because he has 3 flyers. He could attack with 2. No. He would have to attack with all 3 of them and then give me my choice of which one to kill, and obviously I would kill the 1/2 Aegis. So I do think that's the play. The alternative is you just attack, or you could kill the bear. You could attack in the air with the Phoenix and see how the AI responds. If this time he does trade and you kill that off, then your sword would be a lot safer. You could attack with both of these and see how your opponent responds. I don't like this attack because he has the 2/1 on the ground. You could do something like sack the 2/1 and the 1/1s and kill that. I honestly would take that trade. Like if he does, I would basically clear his board, and that would definitely win, like almost certainly win the game. Yeah, I think that's a good play. The safer alternative, I think, is just to kill this and take it slow. But I think this works pretty well. I do have the rally in case something goes horribly wrong. If I really don't like the blocks that he does. I think my opponent is forced to block here. This looks good. This looks very good. That is perfect. I will take that all day, every day.
My daggers find their mark.
Now, I could still play the Shugos and swat this thing out of the sky, but since I exhausted my Griffin, he would finish off the sword, essentially for free. Is that worth it? Probably. Is it a fine play to make? Yes. Am I actually going to do it? No, because I just realized that he's at 3 HP and I have lethal. Yeah, turns out Fear Tracker is a very good card. So yes, I'm going to play these a little bit slow. I'm taking the time to talk through all the turns. And I intend for this to be some sort of guide video, as well as just an experience for my own sake, to see if it's worth it to do this at Master Rank. This looks like a absolutely terrible hand, way too much power. That card is going to be sitting in my hand doing nothing for a very long time. I do like the 2-drop, but no, this is not a hand you keep. This is better, but I don't like the 2 power. I would ideally like 3 power. Actually, I do technically have 3 power with the Bearer's Favor. And now I have 4 power. Okay, this is a great hand. This is now officially a great hand. But you can't really rely on drawing that power. I might have thrown this hand back if it was the first one that I was offered. Now we have a ton of power. Empty board against a primal. I do think I play the Stranger here.
We earn our keep.
If it was Shadow, I would probably play the Makar, just because Shadow has access to cards like this. Deal 1 damage, lifesteal. This is a perfect answer to your opponent playing a Covetous Stranger. This is like the best answer in the game. Alright, so we have some green. It's the same factions as it's Huru, again, the same faction combination. Green and blue, Prime and Justice. So Edict is a very good card in this matchup. That's not really a card I want to Edict. I think in this situation, you could hold the Sunset Priest hoping that you draw the Siphoner and you get the combo and you get the Exalted and you're so happy. But I don't think that's what you do in this particular situation. I think I'll attack. I do have the Total Pioneer in this deck, so that would be great. But I don't think you try to hold on to this hoping you draw that. I don't think you hold this hoping you draw that other thing. I'll be happy to take this trade. I might hold the Treasure Trove. Oh, my opponent didn't want to trade. Fair enough. I think I will go ahead and just drop the 3/3. Oof, that was actually really bad. Those are 2 very good cards that I just discarded. I'm happy to have discarded that. Didn't want to see that. That's fine. That's a fair trade. Typically, the effect of this, if you don't have a direct synergy with it, you can think of it as just a null and void effect. It's a 3/3 for 3, which is pretty solid. It's very solid. Play 3/0/1 sheep. What the hell is my opponent doing? Okay, this is. Can't have more than 1 armor and their spells deal -1 damage. That is actually pretty terrible, because that'll make my Shugos a lot less good. That's very unfortunate. Okay, apparently. That's unfortunate. Do I kill one of the sheep? I don't think so, honestly. I think I just... Okay, well, I mean, you could kill the sheep, you could Edict and Wolf. I think I want to just play the Wolf. You could also Treasure Trove. Okay, I actually like that line the best. Treasure Trove, draw, and play the 2/2. That was one option. You could 2/2 and Varas. Oh, you're joking. Varas now deals 0 damage. I hate you. I had a Ruin in the last deck to destroy a relic. I don't think I have any. I was offered the Mage, the 4/3 destroy a relic thing. Wish I had that now, but I don't. I have this useless thing instead. Unfortunate. So that is actually so sad. I will attack. If he trades, that's fine. If not, I just get more treasure troves. Alright. That's fine. I don't mind trading. You know, I traded my 2-drop for his 3-drop. And this thing gives him ramping, so there's definitely consideration there. Okay, so it does not affect the Fear Tracker's damage. But it does make this pretty useless. That's a perfectly fine target to to Edict. It's perfectly reasonable to Edict here. I'm going to see if he plays something even bigger. I'm going to play the Fear Tracker.
My daggers
Offer
find
him
their
this trade. I won't attack with the 2-2 because he has a 3-3. He'll just kill it for free. So I'll do that. Eat a sheep. Okay. Alright. Do you have something even bigger?
Your first lesson is how to stay alive.
Not really. Okay, now we have... Well, we got to do this for one turn because sadly our Covetous Stranger died. But we do have a Total Pioneer into a treasure trove. So we get a free treasure trove. Okay, we draw a power, fair enough. And then we get our power back. We're up to 3. We are now at 4. I could Edict here, but this thing, it's already exhausted. It's not going to attack. It's not going to do much. There's actually a consideration to use the Total Pioneer to pump something. I could force him to trade. Actually, Total Pioneer and Makar's Evangel is kind of a busted combination. If I give this +4 attack, overwhelm, and quick draw, he cannot block that card. He would have to have something with more than 6 HP. So even if he has a Finest Hour to give this +3/+3, that is not enough. My opponent could have a draw strength, which would give him +1/1 for each of my creatures. So that would make it a 7/7. That would be enough to stop me. He could also have a lightning strike with the primal influence and 2 mana to just kill it outright. That would be very sad. But I think that's still a very good play. I like that play. That's a fine play. Let's make that play. And we will attack with everything. Our opponent does take the 3-3 trade. Surprisingly, he blocks the 5 damage instead of the 6 with the sheep. But okay, opponent, you do you.
beauty and boundless
2-4 endurance is pretty irritating. So now, do I kill the 5-4, I mean the 2-4 or the 3-3? I think I actually kill the 2-4 because for the same reasons as we analyzed with this thingamajig. A 3-3 with a Finest Hour is not enough to block the Makar. And now that I only have 3 units, even a draw strength is not enough. So I think the play here is actually to Edict the 4 HP unit, pump the Makar Stranger, and attack with these 2. He lets the damage through, which means if he does that one more turn, he's dead.
Let's see what you got.
Another 4 HP creature. Okay, and we find out what the mystery card is. It is a Mistrust. When I play a unit, you get 2 Paladins. Well, joke's on you, buddy. I don't need to play a unit to kill you. Now, he can double block me. He can double block to kill the Makar Stranger if I pump it. But the thing is, if he does that, he's dead. Because he'll have to let the Fear Tracker through, and he dies. So, yeah, I think our opponent is just dead here. It still deals 0 damage. So sad. Oh, and actually, Total Pioneer has some synergy with the Makars. They could get activated on their mastery in 1 attack if they survive with the +4 from his buff. So that's a nice synergy, unintentional synergy. I'm not going to pretend to take credit for that one. It was just a happy little accident. I think I did mention this as a possible synergy. But yeah, Makar's Stranger with a quick draw buffed by this thing is actually very strong. GG, opponent. Oh, okay. Okay, that is an option. You survive with 1 HP. Sadly, that's so sad. 0 damage. Oh, did I play a power this round? I honestly don't remember. It doesn't matter. It's fine. I don't need to play it. If I play a unit, it'll just give him some Paladins anyway. I could use the same combo and give my opponent the same impossible scenario where he has 2. I could attack with all 3 and all 3 cards are lethal. He has no way to block that. But I want to actually use the Shugos just for stop points. 1 armor. So sad. Womp womp. Die. Get out of here, dragon.
cleansed.
Oops. So attacking with the Shugo creates an Oni, which apparently counts as playing a creature, which gives him 2 paladins. So, oops, but it's okay. I wanted to give Total Pioneer the honors, but he might still get the honors. Yes, Total Pioneer still gets the honors. Because it's a quick draw, the 2-2 actually kills the 3-2 for free. Quick draw can be very good. Macaris Evangel is a very solid card. Do not underestimate it. Especially if you have some way to give it strength, like a weapon or some sort of buff like the Total Pioneer. That's a very strong combination. Feeling very happy with my deck right now. My opponent's deck was not terrifying. We might be onto something here. Let's see. On to the next round. Minions of Shadow. I actually have played against this deck, I believe, in Gauntlet. And if it's the same deck, that deck kind of sucks. Or at least the AI uses it horribly. This is an okay hand. I'm not thrilled about only 2 power and no red influence. Hopefully I draw some. That's not what I wanted to see. Hopefully I draw a red. If I don't draw a red sigil, it's going to be pretty sad. Okay, awesome. Dumb luck for the win. It's fairly likely that you'll draw a second power, a third power, rather. That's unfortunate. A third power if you start off with only 2. It's probably going to be a while before you get your 4th power, but if you're at 3, we can play with this hand for a while. We can just throw out the wolf. You could also throw out the 3-3, but he has an empty board. If I can get that wolf into action, I'd be very happy. We also do have a rally to consider. And yeah. Okay. So our opponent played a 4-3. That's unfortunate. I would love to get this wolf activated, but if I trade it for his 4-drop, that's also fine. And I can make that happen with an Amethyst Acolyte. Now, I could present the choice to my opponent if he wants to take that trade, or I could surprise him with it by attacking and then doing this afterwards. I would actually prefer if he doesn't kill my wolf, so if he doesn't want to take the trade, I'm perfectly happy with that. He does take the trade. I trade my 3-drop for his 4 with a little help from my other 3-drop and gain some health. That's fine. I'd be happier to have my wolf and let him have his 3-2, but okay, so he has Dark Return. Fair enough. He's played 2 cards to make his 4-3 a 4-3 again. If I'm not mistaken, that was a different card. I'm not 100% sure that that actually works in this game, that like you can track which card your opponent actually played, but I do believe his Revived Stranger became this card and he played another one. And that's not a stranger, it's just a bouncer. Whatever. I could attack here with a rally, but that's not a trade I want to take. I don't want to trade 2 of my cards for a very mediocre card from my opponent, when I can instead play this and offer him to trade 1 for 1, once again trading my 3-drop for his 4-drop. Trying to be as efficient as possible. Actually, yeah, the reason I think this deck sucks is because it has this in it. The opponent loves to mill himself with that deck. Unfortunately, he has a Touch of Shadow, which kills my 1 HP card. This thing is pretty scary. If he actually puts a weapon on it, that'd be terrifying. Alright, I have only 4 mana, so I can't really be very efficient here. I could rally, but again, I don't want a 2-for-1 myself. Actually, this thing would trade with either one of them, so that's fine. I also do want to play this. I'm gonna buff, oh, actually, hold on. Because I was gonna buff itself, make a 4-1, and that would trade with either of his cards, hoping he doesn't just have another Varus Favor, but he could have a Varus Favor, and also, I have a Macaris Evangel. If I can give him that weapon, that's even better, because a 4-2 quick draw doesn't die to a Varus Shadow, and it kills any of these cards for free. So I'll offer him a trade here. He does take it, and he actually takes it with the better card. Thank you, AI. I mean, it's a better card if you have a weapon, which I would hope that the opponent has a weapon if it's running that in the deck, but maybe not, I don't know. Okay, so still no 5th power. I do believe we go with the earlier plan. Make a really big and scary Evangel and attack. No quick spell for my opponent, as far as I can tell. I do believe the AI still has a bit of a pause if they have a quick spell. I'm obviously not gonna give my 2/1 away for free. I'll take the 4 damage. I've taken 8 damage. I have absolutely no problem with that. Now I play the Fear Tracker, and his
My
attack is
daggers find
stopped.
their mark.
I will attack with both of my units. I wouldn't necessarily mind trading my Fear Tracker for his 4/3. Fear Tracker has an on-play effect, deals 3, heals 3, and also leaves the Shade around, which has that same effect if you pay 3 additional mana, which is worth it if you can, and you have 4 turns to do it since it has a 4 health Shade. But the other alternative is if my opponent attacks, I just let him through. I take the 4 damage, and then I hit him right back for 11 damage. And that is most likely what I would do. Oof, a Plague is pretty nasty here. The Makar, another benefit to buffing the Makars is he doesn't die to random -1 HP, things like that. The Makars here still gets a free kill on that guy. I don't really want to offer him the trade. The thing is, I have a very inactive hand. I kind of have to Varus to go up to 6 power to be able to use this. But since I have this, I really don't want to trade my 4/3. So I think I'll do this. My opponent cannot block. That would just be a kill on... This thing would die for free because of the quick draw. Even if he had some kind of combat spell, I can make this a 5 attack and then finish it off with a Varus Favor. So this is it's a very strong hand. We attack, I won't end turn. I'll just Varus Favor his face to draw the power. That's not normally what you want to do, but I want to make sure that next turn I can play this even if I don't draw a power. I could just draw a power here and that was a waste, but if I draw a power, I can play Shugo's Hook Sword, so it's fine. Alright, my opponent has a Spirit Drain of his own. Giving plus attack here is useless, so I'll just let it happen. No reason to block here. This Shade is still useful. You can pay 3 to hit the opponent and heal yourself for 3, which is most of the damage my opponent is doing anyway, so that's fine. You can, your health pool is a resource. Use it. Okay, I have options here. I can Spirit Drain to just kill that immediately, or I can just play the Dread Hellkite and not even care that's on the board. So now my opponent's creature cannot block, which means this card is effectively useless for him. I will not block. This is still an optional +3 damage. This only hits a unit, so unfortunately I cannot hit the face. But now, the Shade that I've been saving, plus the 2 units that I have, give me lethal. 4, 7. The Rally would also give me lethal, but just to show that Shades can be very useful. Obviously Rallies are very useful too. Oh, and another trick here. If you had Rallied, Rallied is a fast spell, so you can surprise your opponent with it. If the opponent can block, for example, you might want to attack. The opponent might see, well, he doesn't have lethal, so I don't have to block here. And then you pull out the Rally and, oh, surprise, it is lethal. You didn't block, you die. But if you had done it before attacking, you could actually attack with a Shade as well. A 0 attack creature cannot attack, but if you buff it, it would have 2 attack and it would be capable of attacking. So that could be an extra 2 damage there that I would have missed if I needed it, but I don't, so whatever. I'll finish it off with the Shade just for style points. I think the Shade deserves it. Pretty methodical game so far. The deck is definitely performing beautifully, just absolutely steamrolling the AI. Let's hope that gravy train continues. The 2,500 entry fee would not necessarily be worth it for 1 gold chest, but if you can get all 3, I do think this is worth it. This is actually a very good hand. I like it. Has 3 power, has both of my influence requirements, It would give me the 2 fire that I need for Shugos, not the 2 shadow that I need for Fear Tracker, but hopefully I'll draw that. And I have my choice of 1-drops and a Fervent Siphoner on turn 2. That's a very good hand. So here you do want to make sure you start off with your fire sigil, don't just randomly click something. You have to pay attention to what your 1-drops actually are, and they both require fire, so we start with fire. An empty board. So it is shadow, so whatever I play is likely very possible to get removed since it only has 1 HP. I'm actually going to test the waters with the Gremlin. The Gremlin deals less damage with each attack because it only has 1 attack. This would have 2. It does buff itself. But alternatively, I save the Stranger also because I have other Strangers I might be able to buff, so I would rather this gets removed. Also, this thing, it actually does more damage if it gets killed than if it kills something, so it's perfectly fine. I want to play here and attack. If my opponent trades, I'm perfectly happy with that. He draws a card and takes 3 damage to the face. We both lose our 1/1s. That's fine. That's a fair trade. I'll play the Siphoner. Sometimes you want to play your creature first, sometimes you want to play it second. Depends what creature we're talking about, basically. So our opponent got a Warp here, so that's basically a free draw. Warp is a good thing if you have a good card to use it. Sadly, I have absolutely no 3-drop. I actually don't have a 4-drop either. That could be very sad. But I could play this here. I could attack, and the Exalted would allow me to place a weapon on this, making it a 3/3. But access to fire gives you access to things like Torch and Seer, which both do 3 damage. Shadow has a ton of removal options for single targets, and actually a couple for AoE targets. So I don't really want to create one giant creature with which my opponent can just efficiently kill with 1 card. So I will pass. If my opponent attacks me for 2, I will most likely just let it through as well. Speaking of Torch, this thing, when you entomb, it draws a torch. So if he didn't have a torch before, he will likely have it soon. In this situation, it might be worth it. Like if I had a 4-drop in my hand, I would take this trade. But since I don't, I'm just gonna let it through. I'm not concerned about taking 2 damage right now. Okay, now we have a Stranger. This is a very irritating card. I don't want to put the buff on a 1 HP card. I don't want to buff a 1 HP card because that would just get removed by the same torch that this thing will give him. So I think the best play here is to just not attack. You could definitely attack with this. If he trades, that's fine. It would give him the torch where the opponent might kill the Exalted, or more logically, he would just kill the other Stranger. Oh, I forgot. That was actually a mistake because I forgot that if you attack with the Stranger, you get a treasure trove. I'll let both of those through. Okay. So we have a Vera's Favor. That's very good. That actually fixes our influence. We would be perfectly set up, and we can kill one of these 1 health creatures. So yeah, I made a mistake there. I missed a treasure trove, and I had the 2 mana to play it. So I threw away a card that I could have in my hand now for no reason. I should have attacked there with this Stranger. Now the question is, do I attack now? And I believe the answer is yes. I'll go ahead and throw this Stranger out. If he trades, that's fine. The 1/1 Gremlins are going to be annoying. You would normally want to kill the 3/1, but I don't want to give him a torch right now, so I'm actually just going to kill this one. I do believe I will draw. Okay, play my power. I can't do anything with one power. I'll pass. Oh, okay. I thought he might actually devour the 3-1. That could be a very interesting play. Like if you attack with the 3-1, devour it, and then torch something. I am definitely not giving you that trade. I'll do that after I can play my next card. How about that? Okay, so here I can Fear Tracker to just stabilize and freeze the board effectively, or I can just charge. I like charging. Charging sounds good. Let's try. I could attack with both, but at this point I do actually want to trade my Siphoner. I have synergy cards with the Siphoner that I could buffer. Maybe I could get a bigger weapon, but at this point I want to stop the bleeding. I want to kill that. I would be able to make a 5/6 creature, which he cannot easily torch unless he has a second torch. But well, I can attack his face. I can leave behind the blocker to kill that one. Now I do take this trade. He gets a torch, but I get a 5/6. Okay, that is irritating. Notably, it's not actually enough. Like if he... interesting. Okay. That's a permanent -2/-2. I thought it was this turn. So this card is actually a little bit better than I thought it was when I was evaluated in my draft. I was offered it. I still don't think it's very good, but it is better than I thought it was. Incidentally, I have Spirit Drain available. So the combination of -2, if he were able to like double block, yeah, actually, if I attack, he double blocks me and then he kills me with this effect. That wouldn't necessarily be a terrible thing. But if I do this, I at least force him to use the... Wait, no, that's not what I wanted to do. If I do this, I force him to use the torch. Sadly, 3 mana less, but I can do that. And torch is no longer a fast spell, so he can't do something like block me with a 1/1 and then torch me. He could do that with Seer, but our opponent doesn't seem to have any fast spells. Oh no, he hit me for 1. Oh, the pain. Okay, so we have more freaking... Ooh, this thing gets charged. Oh, that's fun. I like that. Okay. I mean, that gives him a pretty good target for his torch, but that's fine. I'd rather this gets torched than that. Would I? I mean, if this can get the mastery off, then this is better, but if not, then, whatever. It's debatable. Alternatively, I could just Fear Tracker. Fear Tracker is pretty good. I could also drop these two, but it might be better just as a Fear Tracker. If I play this, I can bait out the torch and then charge my wolf. That's also the 300 IQ play. But playing this by itself is not 300 IQ, I don't think. So I'll do this. Probably should have attacked first. It's a very curious block. Do you have anything to follow it up? Nope. Just giving me a 2/2. Okay, I'll take it. Alright, now Shugo's is in play. The thing is, he has a torch, which means he can torch my face and destroy my Shugos. Very, very sad. I think that's fine. If he torches my face, the Makar gets him. Alternatively, I can use the Makar to bait for the Shugos, and that's probably smarter. I'll attack with everything. Wait, no I won't. Now I'll attack with everything. Oh, okay. I didn't realize my opponent could... I should have thought of that. Something, if it only has 2 attack and 3 health, you actually can use 3/1/1s to block it. two of them will die, but you kill the bigger thing. So, fair enough, opponent. Did not think of that. And now I do use this to bait the torch. And then we Shugos for many, many Oni. There's the torch. You got anything else? Alternatively, the better play is actually to attack with these two cards. He has to block one of them or he dies, but then surprise, surprise, we have a Shugo, he dies anyway. So this is actually the better play. Oh no, you stop lethal, just kidding. Die. That would also give me a 2-2 Oni that blocks any chargers from destroying the weapon, unless it's a flyer, obviously. But it also just gives me a big, scary sword to kill my opponent with. And that's why I was saying that Shugos is a game winner. It is an incredibly powerful card. Very expensive, 7 mana, 2 influence, but it is a very powerful card. That hand does not look playable. I would love this half of it, but unfortunately with only 1 power, it's not enough. 2 power is not great either, but I do have some shadow options. Hopefully I draw a fire. And in Forge and Gauntlet, you only get 2 mulligan. I mean, you only get to mulligan once. You only get offered 2 hands. So you don't have the option to discard a card for another mulligan. But that might have been worth considering if you could do it. But 2 mana is fine with this particular hand. I do have plays. It's fairly likely you'll draw the 3rd power early on. And it's a reasonable chance that that power will be the fire that you need. And Toto gets static bolted. Sad, but okay. We can deal with that. So now we have a Blood Wolf Hellkite combination. I think it's kind of irritating. Alright, so in this situation, there are different lines to consider. If I just attack on this board as it is, my opponent might take the trade. It is a 2-for-1 trade, even mana values, so that is a fair trade. But we don't like fair trades. We want the trades to be in our favor. So the thing is, if I can make that go in my favor by playing the Hellkite, he would not be able to block with his 2-2, and I would get my Makars to hit his face for free +2 on his mastery. If I can do that a couple more times, I can get a big wolf. The issue with that is that this thing cannot block. So he would be able to get his infiltrate and make a snowball. Debatable. The other option is to forgo 1 mana, play a 3-3, and maybe sacrifice the wolf, or just sacrifice the wolf. I think I'll go ahead and let him have his snowball. I do have cards in my deck that have 1 HP, but not in my hand. This thing has 1 HP, but you play this with a sacrifice to heal yourself and give it more health. This is typically a late game play. It's not really something you want to see in your opening hand. So he did go aggressive. This is a very aggressive deck in general. What the fuck? Kill an enemy attached. Oh, he killed the curse. Okay, fair. That's fine. Alright, you want to be aggressive? Let's be aggressive. My opponent did not block. So now that wolf gets 1 more attack. He gets activated. Oof. The hell? Draw 2 cards and discard 2 cards. Okay, so he actually discarded the snowball, which means he probably has something better than a snowball in his hands. Okay. We have possibilities here. You can use this guy, but this 2-card combo is extremely powerful, especially because the AI loves to trade against that weapon. So we'll just attack in the air, leave the ground. If my opponent wants to retaliate, we'll see what happens. Oof, that's pretty powerful. Okay. That hurts. That is 9 HP. But I think it's actually fine to take it. I really want to kill that thing, which I might be able to do eventually, but I'm 2 mana away from that. I could take the trade here, stop that 6 damage at the cost of my 2 cards. It would give me a +1/+2 exalted weapon, which is nice, but I can do better. I can definitely do better. So we'll just take it. We'll take the 9. We're down to 17 HP. Your health is a resource. Use it. Unfortunately, this thing has Aegis, so I can't just plonk it. But we can do this.
An offering for a soul.
So now that discards 6 cards. Yes, 3 from each of us, which gives this thing +6 attack. And now that is a 7 attack to health. Exalted. That is very nice. So go ahead and trade here. It might be good to offer this trade. I think that's fine. I don't think there's a world in which he blocks there, but I'd be okay trading for one of those. And then we go for this. Make his board a little less volatile, a little less deadly. Could also throw the wolf. No, the wolf dies to that thing for free. Actually, it's not free. I would have a Varus, but I don't have the mana for Varus this turn. I could have done it differently. Like I could have preemptively pinged this thing and then he wouldn't be able to block that. But ideally you would want to have the mana available. But the thing is you can only get the mana to make this sort of play if you Varus first to draw the power. But nope. We'll just do this. What? You're giving me your war chief to kill my exalted. The AI is just kind of dumb sometimes, I have to say. Alright, so considerations here. You can make this a giant, super scary wolf. A 5 health, he can kill it with his 4/4 and something else. Or you can make a gigantic flyer. The problem is the flyer does not have Aegis, so he could have a removal, but he hasn't had it yet. Maybe he just doesn't have it. I'm going to go ahead and risk it. Now this is a big, scary Hellkite. Alright, so my opponent here, he either has a removal, he gets a flyer, or he's dead. There's no other option. He gets a flyer. Oh, that's unfortunate. So I got excited when I saw that it was a 1 health flyer, but now it has yada yada +1/+1, and he also played a snow fort. Alright, whatever. You live 1 additional turn. Unfortunately, the snow fort makes this a 4/5, so I can no longer bait this trade and then Varus favor to finish it. So we just do this. You can Varus favor here, either kill the Aegis or hit the face. So next turn you're guaranteed to have either 5 or 6 power. Or you could hold and maybe there's something with 1 HP that you can kill. But since he has a snow fort, I'm going to figure that the odds of him having something that I can kill are pretty slim. So I'll just go here. Pop the Aegis. I don't think I'll need that damage for lethal. I'll go ahead and play the power now so that if I draw another one, I can spirit drain something. Sometimes it's good to hold the power. It makes your opponent think that maybe you have something, although obviously if you play the Varus favor, they know that what you have is power. But yeah, our opponent did not draw a flyer, so easy. Oh, just to show off the dragon. So you could do something like eat your 1-drop. +9 health, 3/10 dragon. Pretty good. And flyers win games. So yeah, we took a bit of a gamble because we focused all of our threats into 1 card. The 4/3 flyer was already our biggest threat, and so by putting the exalted weapon on it, we made it our only effective threat. So if our opponent did have removal, there was a risk to be had there, but he hadn't removed the dragon until then. It was reasonable to assume he wouldn't have it. Also, a lot of fire and primal based removal is damage based, and there's a lot of 3 damage, there's a 4 damage, and there's a 6 damage. So by taking it to Well, at 5 health, it still dies to the 6 damage, 3 mana primal removal. But it didn't die to anything else, so we're playing the odds. I think it was a good play. Okay, this is a reasonable hand. I do like the Oni. Oni into Exalted is actually pretty nice. And I have Oni into Exalted into discard. It's a good hand. 2 powers. I would like to have 3, but this is a very active hand for only 3 power. It's very likely this is a good hand. I'll keep it. And we have our 3rd power with double influence, so all our concerns are dissuaded. And now this is an excellent hand. We got our 4th power too. Alright, so you can play the Siphoner here and go for the immediate activation, but I'm going to greed and give everything +1 attack. That also bluffs the Blood Wolf, which makes it so that instead of attacking 3 times, he only has to attack twice, which is a pretty big difference. And actually the Oni ate the Static Bolt, which is excellent, because if this thing had eaten the Static Bolt on an empty board, I would have been very sad. Okay, we're drawing quite a lot of power. Now, for the same empty board reasons, I want to play this instead. Also, by the way, 3/3 Lifesteal Mastery 6 +2/2 is freaking amazing. That is so much better than a 2/3. The Oni is a pretty legit card. For example, this can no longer block us. Time does have some primal battle tricks, combat tricks, fast spells will typically, oh, by the way, I can also kill time units, so we're in business. Primal battle skills are typically damage based, and they'll cost either 2 or 4. I'm not familiar with a one cost primal that does anything worthwhile. There's definitely a time 1 cost, which is metal, that would just make it immune to damage, which would stall for a turn but do nothing here. So this is a pretty safe attack for sure. So yeah, I'll attack here. And now we're making our Siphoner combo even better. It's not exactly efficient to play a 2 mana and float the 2 mana, but it's just too damn good. I could Edict here, but I'm not concerned about that 0/3 at all. So now the reason we can make it better is that we can give it a weapon, and Exalted, when it dies, it holds on to its stats, even if they're temporary or from some outside source like a weapon. You can play a card from here. The top of your deck is reduced by 2. Was this an Echo deck? I didn't see a card Echo, but I might have just not been paying attention. That is actually worth an Edict. And I do believe I'll Edict it. He could definitely have a bigger threat. Wait, is that even? Yeah, okay. So it's a mixed faction unit, but it is counted as a time unit. I hope. Yes, we're good. Okay. Now, good things happen. We get our wolf. So our 3/3 Lifesteal Wolf is now a 5/5 Lifesteal Wolf. That is something you don't want to see. This is a very strong board from us. We only have 1 card in our hand, but it's a very good card. Ooh, that's nice. Okay, so our opponent has... Unfortunate. Our opponent has a big scary dragon. Big scary dragon. Now, there's actually a consideration to be made to wait until that big scary dragon comes out to play this, because the AI will possibly trade it for this. This thing will become a 10/2. Alternatively, our wolf would become a massive 15/7. I believe that Drake only becomes a 6/6, so it still will not be able to kill our wolf. Regardless, I think it's worth holding it. Wait, what am I talking about? Well, no, I was thinking that I could go for lethal, but he does have a chump block available. So it wouldn't be lethal. Okay, I'll attack here. I'll hold this as my trump card. Curiously, he chose to block the 1 damage instead of 5, but okay. I guess he values keeping that blocker alive a turn longer. There's some merit to that, for sure. He played a Water of Life, which means he doesn't have enough mana to play the big scary dragon. Huh, okay, so that was the snowball he threw at me earlier. I wasn't really paying attention to where that snowball came from, but yeah, this is a card that's, I think it's commonly run in control decks, because that snowball counts as a spell. It's very good at killing little 1 HP things. But you see here the folly of our opponent playing a bunch of gain health cards. That did nothing to help his board. So yes, you've recuperated 9 HP. You're not dead this turn, but you're very dead very soon. Now, do I go for my combo to trade on that? I think I still do.
An offering for soul.
I just discarded my shoes. And he had he had an Aegis. I didn't realize that. And actually killing the Aegis is very significant. I completely forgot about that. The big scary Drake is only big and scary if you have an Aegis when you play it. If you don't, it's a 7 mana 3/3. So actually killing that Aegis is huge. I'll drop this guy. You could A-space here, but I think I'll just do this. My opponent will probably trade, yes. Alright, so now I have a 7/2 Exalted Weapon to place on one of my units. I can make this big scary wolf even bigger and even scarier. Alternatively, I could also just create a second threat. Since my opponent is playing a 3/3, I think it's better to do this. Now I have 2 5 health units, which both kill his 3/3 and don't die to it. Get wrecked. And now I just A-space and he is very, very screwed. Sure, go for it. He has to block one of the big guys or he's dead. So it's perfectly safe to attack with absolutely everything. And now our opponent has to pull off one hell of a miracle. And a snowball is not going to be it. It would have been pretty hilarious if he snowballed this thing and died. He's going to stun my big guy. Oh, no. It's Spark. So you can actually use the snowball to trigger spark effects. But he chose to kill that instead of... I mean, I'm pretty sure it would have been a much better play to hit my face to trigger the spark effect and stun this. But obviously, he's dead anyway, it doesn't matter. And because of lifesteal, we end the game at a very comfortable 51 HP. So, Makar's Bloodwolf, very good card. Especially if you can buff it with an Oni. That was clutch. That Oni was an MVP. He buffed my wolf, which won me the game eventually, and he also ate a removal spell, a static bolt, I think it was. All right, pretty good looking hand. 3 power, mixed power. I have the power to play everything in my hand, and I have a pretty good 2 and 3 drop option. So yeah, great hand. I also have an Edict. This card has fortunately been very good, just because we happen to face opponents who are using that faction. This time we have Fire. Okay, so, ooh, Oni makes his glorious return. So, we have that same combo again, and I believe we'll do that exact same combo again. Oni makes everything in my hand better. A 2-2 Exalted is significantly better than a 1-2 Exalted. He also tests for removal. I will not block here. It actually is... Yeah, I probably should have blocked the G2. Oops. Mistakes have been made. Our opponent, I mean, he could be Rakano, he could be Praxis, but if you're not familiar with the game, Rakano means red and green, Praxis means red and white. Or he could just be a modifier. Since the name is Rising Up, I'm suspecting it's just a modifier. Alright, so we can play a 3-drop, but that's not efficient. Our Edict, sadly, is very useless here, so we'll go ahead and drop the Siphoner.
Bleed them dry.
I'll attack here. The Siphoner, now I didn't want to play him on an empty board because if he got torched or something, we have a secondary target to put him on. Okay, interesting. Alright, I would have wanted to buff him, and I would want to put my weapon on a bigger target than just a 1-1. But that is nice to kill. I think there's two options here. You can trade and buff your Oni to be a 4-3. A 4-3 is perfectly fine. It's an okay stat line. Or you can take 6 damage, let him continue to get his war cries, play your 3-3, and then make a much bigger card. And I think I'll go for that. Obviously, something else that should be noted, I'm playing somewhat mana, okay, not somewhat, I'm playing very mana inefficient because I played a turn 3 2-drop and I'm planning to play a turn 4 3-drop. So that's not exactly what you want to do, but I'm trying to set up big wombo combo, so yeah. Also, unfortunately, my opponent won't have anything to trade my big Siphoner with, which means I would be able to put the weapon on a bigger unit, but I wouldn't actually be able to create a bigger weapon. Huh. Okay. Because of that, I think it's better to stop the aggression, stop the war cry. War cry is very scary. He could be making a big fat carrot. Then again, I might need a big fat weapon to deal with that card. Okay, I keep talking myself in and out of it. I'll let the damage do. I'll take the damage. Because I'm going to need something to stop that weapon. Okay. So, now that I have 2 of these, I'm actually going to make this one bigger. I don't need like an 11-3, an 11-5 unit. That's not really better than having, like, I prefer to have a 10-5 unit and a 4-3 than an 11-5 and a 3-3. It's much more significant to have that 4 attack rather than to have the 11 damage.
An offering for soul.
Now, I'll go ahead and do this. He'll most likely sacrifice it. I'm going to hold this back because it trades well. So, yeah, he sacrifices it. Didn't want to take 8 to the face, understandable. So that means his 1-1 drops no longer have charge. He is trading now. Oh, scary. Okay. Fire. The fire and time combat tricks that I'm that I'm aware of. There's a lot that give +2 attack. Some give +2 attack and quick draw, which is horrible from Shadow. That's a 1. I hope he doesn't have that one because that would kill me for free. The others, there's a lot of +1 health, and there's at least 1 +2 health. So I don't want to do this block. I don't want to do this block because if he gives it +2 health, I die for free. I'd rather trade. So I'm going to do this. And actually there was something to be said about doing this, but he'll probably trade that when I buff up the next one. So I'm going to try this. He does have a combat spell. Rally. Okay, fair. Rally would be the reason you would want to do that buff, but I didn't make it for the aforementioned reasons. Unfortunately, our opponent is playing a whole lot of fire, and Oh, and Shadow. So yeah.
An offering for soul.
Sad to see that Makar go. Lifesteal is very useful against aggro. So, interesting scenario here. Our opponent has 2 cards he could block with, and this thing is not going to kill anything in this matchup. Trifaction decks are rare, and I don't suspect the AI is going to be using any such thing. So I can actually edict on his smaller guy and force him to either take 8 to the face or block with his bigger unit. And I think that's a pretty sound use of a card that is otherwise not going to be very useful in this matchup. You can save it for some sort of ace in the hole, smash the face option, which I could have done earlier instead of hitting the 1-1, but killing that 1-1 drop is actually fine. Otherwise, this thing would have had charge. So I'm going to attack here. Hopefully he trades. Yes. Nice. So now because he traded, I get silly 12-5 units.
This way.
Oh Jesus, he's going to bring back the Pyre Knight. That's crazy. What? What did I just witness? You have a 4-3 Pyre Knight and you brought back a freaking Grenadindra. Okay. That's actually kind of scary. So this is the problem with not flying really high attack, low health unit. Like a 5-12 would be so much better than a 12-5 in this situation, because our opponent actually has very clean ways of getting rid of that. He can just trade his 3 attack and 2 little chumps, and that'll kill my big scary 12-5. If it was a 5 attack, 12 health, his whole friggin' board couldn't kill it. So yeah, we'll just go here. Play it slow. That's irritating.
I'll make you proud.
That is actually significant because, oh, okay. I think I need to sacrifice the Covetous, which is very sad. Alternatively, I can hit him in the face very hard. If you pump this with the Total Pioneer, it gets overwhelming. So if you can block with 1 health units to kill something, but if it has overwhelming, the damage will bleed through, and that could hit that face very, very hard. The thing is, it wouldn't be lethal, and it would pretty much lose me the game, because I would trade my best unit. If I were the opponent, I would happily still take, I would block with 3 health and 5 damage, which would lead 16 minus 3, 13. So I will take 13 to the face, but then you would most likely win the game. So it's fine. I think the play here is actually to sack the stranger, get the treasure trove, get the power. Alternatively, I probably could have done this better. I could have pumped him, made it a 7 attack with overwhelm, gotten some damage through, and then had the treasure trove at the end anyway. I messed up. That's a mistake. I was hoping that I would draw into something that I could play, but that's not exactly guaranteed at all. Okay, now this is interesting. There's definitely an argument to be made to sacrificing the Total Pioneer. I think I'm going to hold it. My opponent might make some bad trades, seeing that he can get a lot of damage through. And then I can surprise him with a big heal at the end. As long as I don't die. Like if he has a rally here, I'm pretty sure I'm dead. It's just 1 damage, that's fine. Okay, so he passed his turn. I drew a sigil. Every turn that you continue to delay this is a very risky turn, but I think it's worth it. Excellent. With that, I don't even need the dragon. I can just pump the Phoenix and hit him in the face. Welcome, Phoenix, welcome. Our opponent is just playing more 1/1s. Not too worried about that. The more stuff I can flood the board with, the better. My creature's obviously a lot bigger than his, so if he plays one card and I play one card, I'm gaining the advantage. As long as he can't kill me, which he might if he draws a rally, but hey. I'm sure this deck would run rally. I mean, why wouldn't it? At this point, you could definitely consider eating like the bouncer. You could consider eating the bouncer for health. And another thing that you can actually consider is buffing this thing, giving it overwhelm, and sacrificing it into the enemy. And I think I'll do that, especially because I have 7 mana, which means I can do that for 4 and play the rally. So if my opponent doesn't take that overwhelm seriously, I can actually kill him. I think this is the play. I'm threatening lethal, he has to block. And my opponent was greedy. He blocked with just enough damage to kill my 5 health creature. But he's going to take a bunch of damage because he's only blocking with 4 health, which means he's still taking 12. He's taking 17 damage. And that's why rally is very nice. GG. And that, friends, it's why it's very dangerous to be greedy and stay. I mean, he would have stayed at. He would have taken like 17 damage. He would have stayed at 2 HP. That's nuts. Like, I have a 5/5 flyer you have no answer for. How in the world are you gonna? If you can't kill me immediately on the next turn, that's suicide. So yeah, our opponent is not exactly making the best plays available. And we have gotten a 7-win Forge. Pretty nice. I would say that the decks the enemy's playing, I think they are almost the same as Gauntlets. I was terrified that the opponent was going to have some crazy constructed decks and it was just going to crush me and I was going to waste my gold. But honestly, if you draft a decent deck, this is very much doable. Again, apologies that it took so long and went into so much detail about every single play. I wanted this video to be helpful to people who are maybe new to the game and not really understanding exactly the card interactions, the mechanics, the kind of combos you can do. So I'm hoping that I was gearing the video more for the kind of player, not necessarily someone who's just super experienced at Forge. If you are super experienced and the only reason you're here is it actually effective to do this for gold, I think the answer is yes. Because my concerns going into this were, one, do you only have 1 loss? If you lose once, you're out. If that was the condition, I would never do this because you can always have a bad game. Even if you have an amazing deck, RNG can just say, you're going to lose this game. You're going to get offered a 1 power hand, you're going to mulligan it, you're going to get offered a 2 power hand, and it's going to be the wrong power. You're going to have a bunch of red in your hand and you're going to have 2 blue power and that's your game. You're not going to draw shit. You're going to lose. You are going to lose this game. That has happened to me on multiple occasions and it's extremely frustrating. If you only have 1 loss, I would never play this mode. But since you have 2, that's reasonable. You can work with 2. Even if you don't have that amazing of a deck and you lose a match because your opponent just had a better game. And that's fine. You have 1 extra life. So that was one of my concerns, and the other was that my opponents would have some amazing, crazy decks that were just going to crush me, and it was going to be a miserable time. As you can see, that didn't happen. So I would say that yes, doing a master level Forge is still worth the 2,500 entry fee, especially if you're new and you don't have like a super full collection, something like that. I think I got like 200 dust from the cards that I actually drafted, and now I'm going to get at least 3 packs. The other thing is, one of these packs, if you're very lucky, I believe it's a 10% chance that a chest will upgrade to the next level chest. A gold chest is 500 gold and 1 card pack. If you hit that 10% upgrade, that is now like 1,800 to 2,000 gold. A random card, which actually apparently some people have gotten a freaking legendary out of. And it could be a promo card, I think. So it is even possible to get a promo legendary if you're like absurdly lucky. Obviously the chance of that is extremely low. I just want to make sure that is understood. But it is technically possible, I do believe. But even if you just get the more usual thing is you're going to get a premium uncommon, a green rarity thing. Or even if you get a premium common, whatever. It's like 2,000 gold and a card pack. That is amazing value. The entry fee is 2,500. If you just get that upgrade once in a while, you're pretty much going infinite if you can do well. So yes, I would definitely say that even if you are at master level Forge, it is still worth doing. It is still a good way, a viable way to build your collection. And it might actually be even better than draft, because draft you're going up against human opponents, which might have much better decks than yours. The AI seems to have pretty reasonable decks, but obviously build a somewhat aggressive deck. Don't just try to, win the game on turn 12, because you're probably not going to get a turn 12. You're probably just going to get killed before then. But if you build a good deck, you play well, I do believe that this is worth your time and money if you are looking to build your collection in Eternal. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. I'm going to include my referral link. If you're new to the game and you would like to start, you can help us both out. You'll get some extra packs and I'll get something too. So, and if you can give the video a like or subscribe, I'll probably be uploading more content in the near future. Looking forward to seeing you around. My name is Roden, and I wish you a lovely evening. Take care.